Oh god. Hello! So, with all the stat changes and mastery system and all the discussion going on regarding the upcoming Cataclysm expansion in World of Warcraft, there has been one question that prevails above all. The big buzz all over the internet is Cataclysm making the game too easy? And with everything going on, it can be very, very, very confusing. But don't worry, that's why I'm here. Daddy's gotcha. So, is the game becoming too easy? Short answer, no. Long answer, no. Alright, let me explain. First and foremost, remember, stats are not and have never been what makes a good player good. Obviously, there's some understanding that needs to go in there, but the ultimate benefit really comes down to, do I gem strength or armor pen for some classes? And even then, it's not that big of a deal. You spend 5 minutes online doing a Google search, or go to TankSpot or Elitist Jerks or anything. You can find that out. It's really simple. What makes a good player is and will continue to be several other more important factors. First of all, talent specs. Yes, the mastery system streamlines the trees a lot and takes out a whole lot of choices that were there otherwise, but how many of those were actually a choice in the past? Most, if not all, of the talents that are being removed with the mastery system coming into place are pretty much just questions of, do you want to be better at what you do? I mean, how many rogues are you going to go up and talk to and be like, hey, would you like to do more damage? And they go, no, damage. I'm bandage spec. If anything, the mastery changes are going to make the talent specs more of a deal, just because you're going to be picking between so many different utility talents instead of just going down your tree and checking off all the boxes that say, I do more damage. Now, obviously, I don't know anything about what the Cataclysm talent trees are going to look like yet, so I'm just kind of guessing here, but I'm inclined to believe we'll start seeing a lot more discussion like, okay, well, this talent maybe gives me a little bit of a run speed increase. Is that more important for my damage, or is this other talent that will help me survive through some stuff so that I can like stand in the fire for a second and do more damage? Is that more important? Little discussions like that. It's going to be pretty interesting, I think. Another thing that makes a good player good is being able to use their rotation effectively, and that's not changing either. Now you're probably thinking, didn't he just say to go to Elitist Jerks and read about stats? Can't I just do the same thing for my rotation? And kinda yeah, but also kinda not. Yes, for your basic standard rotation for most classes, if the boss isn't moving and you're not moving and nothing else is going on, it's pretty standard and straightforward most of the time. What separates a really, really good player from the rest, though, is their ability to react to what the boss is doing and still keep that rotation up, and also make adjustments to it on the fly, knowing, okay, well, I had to move a whole bunch, so I need to not cast 2 extra incinerates at this point. I need to put immolate back up, or whatever. Even a spec like Retribution, which is pretty much hit whatever the prettiest button that's lit up is at the moment. Sometimes which button is the prettiest changes a little bit, depending on what's going on, even mid-fight. So those little things aren't going anywhere. Those will still exist, and good players will still do more damage than bad players. Which leads me to point number 3. Encounter design. No amount of, I know which stat is the best for me right now is going to help you if you have no idea how to fight the boss you're up against. And especially in Wrath of the Lich King, we've been seeing a lot more innovation and new ideas and just weird stuff being thrown at the players that we've got to react to in terms of encounter design. So I don't think we're exactly going to come into Cataclysm and every boss is patchwork. And don't forget the new Paths of the Titan system that's coming in Cataclysm that we know next to nothing about so far. Our knowledge of Paths of the Titans at the moment are pretty much limited to, it's related to archaeology, and it makes stuff do things. Now, there were some examples of some possible ideas of what it could do at BlizzCon. None of it's, obviously, it was all just examples. None of it is likely to actually make it to the final project. But it's going to be important to everybody to have their use of the Paths of the Titan system maximized. It's just another thing like glyphs or talent specs in that regard. And remember, I mean, looking back, a lot of the same stuff was being said about Wrath of the Lich King before it came out, that it was going to make the game way too easy. Supposedly, everybody and their brother was going to be able to go and kill the Lich King and blah, that was it. The rating guilds, the top end rating guilds and bottom end rating guilds, no difference between the two. That clearly hasn't happened. We still haven't seen a heroic Lich King kill at this point. And who knows when one of those will actually come around. And even with the scaling buff going into the game, that's going to get higher and higher, yeah, but is that going to be enough to take a bad group of players and make them face roll the Lich King to death? Simply put, despite everything that's gone into the game to simplify it, make it easier on everybody, there are still bad players. And by having bad players, therefore, there can be good players by contrast. So if you're worried that Cataclysm coming out and simplifying a few things is going to make the game so easy that there's no way for you to prove yourself above and beyond the average Joe Raider, then don't be. At the very least, let's wait and see what's actually happening in the game before we start jumping to conclusions. Alright. That's about it from me for this week. I'm glad we had this talk. Be sure to check back next week for yet another thrilling episode. Also be watching the YouTube channel or tankspot.com for the next edition of my StarCraft beta journal to go up either on Sunday or Monday, I believe. Until next time, peace, bro! If anything, the mastery changes are going to make... Hi, kitty.